Joe, I did that
You
already.
did, okay,
Yes.
we're on the same day. Thank
We
you.
are. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States. And to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ruben Bogus, President Wagner, Sally, Tanner,
Here.
Davis, Cummings, President Rapp,
Yes.
with them, there they are.
Actually, before we get started at the meeting this evening, I was going to take our community with Royal, which is part of our community as a whole, suffered a loss, very big loss. So I'm just going to take a moment to have a moment of silence and think of the family and the community at large, and several in our community has also been deeply affected. So thank you. Second thing, I wanted to kind of get started off with the meeting. We have a little bit of a different format of our meetings that we've been talking about doing for quite some time, and we just now are kind of putting it together, just so to kind of help everybody to understand how it works. Called a consent agenda. So the first 5 items on the list, this is our regular treasurer's report, the minutes, and investments, all of the approval of the bills will all be voted on together. So any questions or anything before that? Also, since our meetings are now currently on YouTube, I also wanted the audience in the, I guess, YouTube world, whatever, to understand that too. Also, through the links, they have access to all of our meeting packet too. So if they want to follow along on what we have in our meeting packets, then it's there for them to look that up and read all the information also. So just to, let the public know that, hey, we do the best we can to be as transparent as we can to make sure the public is aware of what we're doing, and they can read it for themselves and follow along if they'd like. So anyway, so we'll start with that with, and like I said, it's gonna be a little different for me as opposed to going through everything. So with our consent agenda, we have everything in the minutes. We will, it'll be minus the minutes. So we will have them at our next meeting, and that includes our regular board meeting and the executive session meetings, correct, Tiffany?
Yes.
Okay, so this will just be the treasurer's report, the investments, and the approval of the bills. Is there any questions in regards to those before we take a motion to?
There is one, and I was looking at this truck. I didn't notice it. Did I overlook it? Is it included in the bills? I didn't see it.
It might have been a separate.
Well, like I said, I concede I may have overlooked it, but I just didn't.
It could have been a separate check route register potentially. I'll look into that for you.
Well, I didn't know if that's something we were voting on to pay for, if that needed to be done, included with that or separate.
Separate is fine.
Okay,
So I'd like to make a motion, move to approve the consent agenda as listed with the exception of the minutes.
I'll second it.
Sally? Approve. I'm sorry. I guess what is my word?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, you may not know, but I'm mostly deaf, so I just need you to speak up. Yes. Painter?
Yes.
Thank you. Cummings? Yes. Brett?
yes,
Thank you. Thank you, Joe. I like that.
Anyway, Debbie, I guess we don't have any questions for you, and so, thank you for.
Thanks for coming. You're welcome.
Good work, Debbie.
Excellent job.
So first, item that we have under old business is we have a presentation, in regards to storage units. And that's.
Thank you so much.
I'm sorry, I get confused if you're Brad or.
I'm Brandon.
Thank you. If you both have a B names, it's like, okay, get you both confused here.
Well, Brad's in Bali, so
Okay.
he'll only be there for a few more weeks, so don't worry about him. So, yeah, we're back again. Well, we as in me is back again. We were here about 2.5 months ago talking about the boatyard project. Let's see here. Basically, ready for the.
You've got it.
Anyway, we're good with the next page of it, introduction. Yep, thanks. So basically, our response to the boatyard project was kind of mixed. And basically, we found another location, which is going to be a lot better for us. So hopefully better for the village as well. Our proposal is to develop 5 acres of storage on Route 150 to meet the needs of the community and future growth of the community. So a lot of what we heard was for no location, to not basically have storage in the way, not have it, affect the lives of people and where you want to have other businesses. Is kind of the feedback that we received. basically our site is directly across from the Meyer baseball field. To the west of the Salt Fork paintball and to the east of Pioneer Hybrid. So so that would be subdivided by the current owner. So anyway. So here is a picture of the parcel. It's basically the owner has all the land essentially from 150 to 74. There's about 168 or 170 acres there. What we're going to focus on the next page. So essentially we were looking at 3 acres to the east of the middle overhead power line, and then approximately 2 acres to the west. Technically 5.2 acres, but anyway, I've got that blown up on a little bit larger map. Appreciate the patience there. So this shows the 3 acres. There's about 1.6 acres there. And then the 6/10 of an acre is what the engineer called flood fringe. So essentially that basically is the natural drainage pattern. So it shouldn't affect anything there. So there's two maps. So this gives you a better idea. Is everybody aware? This is 150 at the bottom here. That makes sense. So basically, as you're looking at, you basically be standing on Meyer Field. If that makes sense. So, okay, so yeah, we've got 5 pictures in a 30-second video just to give you some idea of how this might go.
Video doesn't one should get 33 seconds. They don't have to stop anything that you want to separate. You're good.
You're good.
Going back and forth.
There we go. So again, this is a slide from our last presentation. This lady is so incredibly happy, I had to include her again. So see how happy people are with storage. Okay. Our proposal is to construct a facility with a net rentable square footage of up to 40,000 square feet. Budget of around 3.75 and have room to expand another 20,000 feet if needed, probably far into the future. Should an additional phase be necessary. All within the 5-acre footprint. Initial phase development of about 344 units, ranging in size from 5 by 5 to 10 by 30. And even though the rendering isn't exactly, they didn't exactly meet our expectation of how it was going to look. It's going to look more like the blue and white video from the pictures from the last presentation. So the picture of the it looks like a fun or like a hot tub or something. That's not really how the drainage would look. It's there for a depiction, just to kind of show it's going to be essentially dry because it'll run off into the floodplain. Security cameras, solar powered lights. The facility will use very, very little electricity. Anyway, basically the need that we're still seeing is that St. Joe has about 18,000 feet of storage, well below what's normal and needed for a community the size to have. One of the questions always comes up is about traffic. Is it going to cause any congestion or anything like that? Essentially, if every single unit was full, and every single person that rented there visited every single month, you'd only have 11 cars a day. So it really doesn't really add anything to affect anything on Route 150. So as a summary, we're looking to deliver an attractive facility. It's close enough to town, but also, and it's also large enough to meet the needs of the town. One of the things that, you're still seeing in town is that everybody's creating these small facilities and they're taking up a lot of space that could be used for something else. And to meet the needs of the town, you're going to need several of those and you just don't have space for them. So, any questions?
What this gentleman is looking for basically is just gauge your interest in this type of development because it will require a special use permit. So that's what he's looking for.
I got a couple of questions. One is how far off the road will it be from the road to your gate? Soon you got a security gate.
So normally we would have a security gate. The design here is usually more of a fortress where the buildings themselves create the protection. And then that's still in design, but probably it would be enough typically to have 2 vehicles in line.
Well, that was my concern there because let's just say if somebody pulling a 25-foot trailer and they got a 20-foot truck to get off the road with that, they're going to need about 45-50 feet to clear. Is the state going to require you to put any kind of a turn lane or anything there?
Yeah, that'd be all part of the IDOT because the cutting curve or whatever you call it, created there. My choice would be to not have a gate if possible. I don't think it really, the crime level and things, I don't think really calls for that. We have the cameras, we have the deterrent effect there. If somebody does something, they're gonna get caught.
Well, I'm just concerned, you talk about traffic, make sure somebody can get off the road.
Oh, absolutely.
Get off the road, as long as they can get in, there's ample clearance, instead of building out right off the road.
Sure.
Make sure they can get in.
Yeah, so the entire, see where the picture of the car is right there in the middle. Essentially, that would all be, that whole entire lane is open.
Yeah, but that's also your traffic there is for a 4-lane road.
Well, 3, but they're both going both
3.
directions.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's so I would say that we're probably leaning more towards not having a gate there, which means it would just basically be opened up to for what you're talking about. ingress egress would be a lot easier.
Yeah, that would be my concern, or if the state wanted to turn lane, I mean, that would be my concern, just so that you get somebody hanging out. And then somebody tries to pass, and then you've got an eastbound car that, you can get something there.
Sure.
Kind of same thing we told paintball when they went in. You're just on the other side of speed restriction, which is the acceleration zone, visibility. Gonna be big, making sure portions don't overgrow right at the end of the lane.
Sure.
And a back end sticking out.
Yeah, that's the reason I brought that up. I didn't know if there's the turn lane that nullifies that, depending on the spacing off the road, for your fence, but just as long as you can get a car, they can get in, or the turn lane or whatever, because then you got other traffic coming out.
Sure. Sure. And Don, when you're at Burns Clancy, he's all on top of that kind of stuff.
Okay,
Absolutely. Because they're down measuring what's a U-Haul length, what's a NC truck length. What are we looking
and
at?
there again, let's just say you had a 2-ton truck, a U-Haul truck, and there again, you're 25 or 30 feet. And then they're pulling a trailer with a car. A lot of people do that. Then you're up to 50 feet very easily.
Sure.
So.
Does anyone else have any questions about the location or?
Fine with it.
I'm fine with it. I think you addressed that on that drainage area there. Did Burns Clancy mention anything about if you had to have an oil trap or anything like that it went down through there?
I don't have all the specifics, but they're gonna do an entire study on that. And that's, it's gonna be a dry,
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be dry, but
that's just there for depiction, sure.
yeah.
But yeah, it's I would say essentially what it's doing is it's moving everything the way it's going to move, not naturally towards that.
Sure. Well, I'm quite sure you're not gonna have a hot tub over there.
I mean, it would be nice. I could use it. Seasonally.
So basically they're looking for direction on whether or not to move forward with the planning stages, because that would take them, of course, them getting their engineering work done and things, and it would have to, of course, go through planning and zoning. And then, but, he wants to get an idea of what you guys feel before he goes to all that trouble and expense to come back. And if you guys were adamantly against it, of course, it'd be a waste of their time and money to even approach planning and zoning. So if you guys have, you're open to the potential of the development, then I guess, it's not official. I mean, it's not even really officially a straw vote. It's just kind of, he's wanting a little bit of direction on what he should proceed to do. So, which only makes sense if you're gonna put a lot of time and money into the prep work. So.
I've been in all the talks. I'll let you guys talk.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm for it.
Yeah, I think the location is a far better than what we had talked about previously with you, down in our commercial zone, that sort of thing. It's something that where the village, for that kind of development, of course, we don't have to worry about extending the sewer and, which would be an expense to the village. For a lot of other development, we would have to take those things into consideration too. So with this, my understanding would be that there would be the utilities and things is not something that we would have to,
Right.
as far as sewer.
We'll need to bring, there's a fire hydrant in front of the plant, the white plant there. We'll need to bring that over along the utility easement along the road, which we would take care of. And then just put it as per everything that they need for protection of, should anything get on fire, that they would be able to latch onto that and do it. So
Would you
I think Illinois Water already goes past that anyway, so
then
that
that'd be
should
great.
be an easy. I think that should be an easy thing. I'm not part of the water company, but I'm guessing it should be, since it's right there, it should be able to have access to it anyway.
Would you have multiple places, like one in the front, I'm just curious. I'm not against it. I think go ahead.
I think we'd have to probably have at least two in the middle, one on the road and then one further back somewhere, just for convenience of hooking up.
And I think that's usually determined through the engineering, once they, well, their engineering work, I think. In the past, it seems like fire hydrants or something that comes up with their discussion too. Is that what you understand? But anyway, if nobody else has any other questions, then does that give you enough to go on?
Yes, so we have to kind of have all this put together before the end of the year, basically, in order to kind of,
Yeah, just work through Joe to get everything that you need and set up the times with the planning and zoning. And then that will be set up for that. And bring it to their board and go through that process, and then we'll see you back here.
okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. To backtrack here just a little bit, I realized I forgot to ask if there was any public participation. So I'm sorry about that. Jeremy, are you guys here for something in particular?
I know. So, my name is Owen Yonka. I'm here to get approval to build a fire pit, by a sports complex. I have sheet for you guys, maybe not copies, so I have to share. But that was, so Boy Scouts of America, as we know, are one of the very few organizations that allow for fire flags. And for as long as I can know, I haven't had a proper place to do that. She has been most houses free that day or whatever it might be. So I was coming to seek approval to possibly make a fire pit out there for us. Be, as you can see in the picture there, of our sports complex, kind of by where the memorial's at, in that general area, not that exact one, but somewhere around there. And that bottom picture is just kind of a rough image of what the fire pit might look like. That's on the paper as well. I do a plan for making it, as well as a budget for it as well, how to raise the funds for that fire pit, as well as a little bit extra for maintenance and whatnot. Brick might get damaged or if something happens to it. That possibility of just repairing it if something happens.
I'm all for it.
So is that like an Eagle Scout project?
Yeah, so this is for my Eagle Scout project. This is one of the last things I had to do.
Okay.
And I thought this was the correct one. I had gotten inspiration from someone else I knew who had done a similar project like this. And I thought, hey, that's something our community could use, not just the Boy Scouts, but any other organization that is able to retire flags.
I think it's awesome, and it goes right in line with the last one that we had, which was the box where you can dispose of them or properly. Yeah.
I've worked in a bit of coordination with him as well. You know, hey, I'm doing this. That's a good idea as well. See, you're having it.
Isn't it great how it's all coming together?
Yeah.
Leader like makes you a team. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea. I would suggest working with the Legion or the veterans there, and maybe see if they want a proximity where they might be different times. You got a big ceremony, they might want to have an honor guard.
As well. Yep, I know you have plenty of flag near retirement, so that's always something we can just talk about, working with them, whatever they do.
That's just a suggestion, but I think it's a good idea.
I agree.
I'm good with it too. I figured, just work through Joe and the works department as far as the location and logistics of all of that. I think it'd be a great idea. I think these are all really weatherproof. Can't talk too much. So, you know, I think it will be a nice addition. It seems like by looking at your diagram, it looks like there should be plenty of space there to potentially have that there, so.
Yep, I mean, any place is good around there. That's my idea. If it needs moved, that's always fine by me. But that was a good area, a good general public area. If anyone needs to go there, or whatnot, that we put. It will be an above ground, so nothing will be dug into the ground or ground be disturbed at all.
Could you do me a favor and flag off where you're initially thinking you want to place it out there, and then we'll go check out.
Yeah, sure, we can do it.
Do you want to call Julie or? Is there anything out there?
I don't know.
They're not taking, you don't have a color.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you wouldn't have to do that, just for like maintenance purposes, no remote or anything, stuff like that.
Okay. I think it looks like a nice project and I will be excited to see it develop, so.
I appreciate it.
Anyway, sorry that I skipped over you.
It's all right.
I didn't have myself. I got ahead of myself, so anyway, well, thank you very much, appreciate it, and just be in touch with Joe and get all those details worked out.
Will do.
All right, thank you.
Thank
So what level are you currently?
I'm currently Life Scout.
A Life Scout? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, bye-bye. Okay. Now we'll get back on our agenda here. Did you have anything for either one of you guys for public participation? Okay. All right, second thing on old business is we had our discussion last week at the presentation in reference to the hiring the two consultants for consulting us to go through the process of determining if we would do a TIF district. So we need to hire the consultants to get that all figured out for us, to see what that would look like. So we have a copy of what that agreement would look like. Is there any questions? If not, a motion.
I would just clarify that, the first step would be tomorrow morning, I will, be talking with this consultant and just getting a schedule, a project schedule together to, how this is gonna look, and then the first meeting is with the school superintendents after that.
Any other questions or comments?
I make a motion that we approve the consultant.
Second. Painter,
Yes.
Cummings? Yes. Rath,
Yes,
Valley? Yes. Foro?
Okay, next thing on is on the new business is Christmas lights contract. Last year we went the traditional Christmas lights that went on the big poles. And I heard a lot of upset people because we took away the traditional lights. And so anyway, so we in the Christmas committee that have been working together on our Christmas ideas decided that we would bring that back. We're hoping to still do a lot of fun, neat things in the downtown this year for our Christmas. And by adding the Christmas lights, we decided that that would be worth doing that because we found out by not having them last year that they were really, really missed by a lot of people in the community. So anyway, so you have that. I spoke with the company where we still have time to get on their list to get those put up for the year. And so anyway, so that's what we're probably we'll count the polls, but we're gonna make the main focus in our downtown areas. So we starting there about the four-way stop and working our way to the downtown to Lincoln to Sherman, because the Church of Christ will have their big Christmas display that they've done the last couple of years. So anyway, so that's what that is about. So
did we sign a multi-year contract with them on that, or that just?
well, we
just-
didn't last year because we didn't sign anything with
Okay.
them. So
It expired last year.
yeah.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know. This is a one-year contract.
This would be for a three-year contract
Three-year
to
contract.
tie in the cost. So I know Mike Peters had mentioned the difference in numbers of poles, and that would be clarified after we agree, because they charge per pole. So that number might vary just a tad bit different, because I think we have less poles than.
So you're gonna pull off 150, then you're not gonna do 150
I thought we would start just the four-way.
and go south and not
Yeah,
down?
and work our way that way. So it might be just a tad bit less, because if we don't do quite as many polls as they counted originally. I think they went off our old contract and we had a few extra polls because we went a little ways down on 150. But the price for each little decoration is all the same, so it's, I think, like 155 a pole. So, anyway, so that would be the only difference in the contract, but the 3-year contract would secure that price for all 3 years. So the price wouldn't go up. Any questions?
Where's the $3,000? That's just the net fee we're gonna pay them every year, and we just whittle it down to fit within that.
No, I mean, it would be the $3,000 if we do all this number of polls that they counted.
Okay, so if we agree to this, it's up to $3,000, it could be less, okay.
Exactly.
I make a motion that we approve the lights for Christmas for the people.
Oh, for the children.
I did miss you too. Sorry. Okay. We're all good. We got it all out. Is there a second? I second. Sorry. Cummings? Yes. Brett?
Yes,
Valley? Yes. Banner?
Yes.
Boro?
All right, the second, actually, community will thank you for the Christmas lights. I was, even my own grown children, 2 sons, grown. I heard it from them loud and clear
Well, you're
that.
the one who wanted to change it, right?
It was all, on me.
You.
I thought they had a great.
Different plan, say, we have those lights somewhere, right? Cause the whole thing you sold us on was buying the lights, we
Yeah.
have them
Well,
every year.
we're still decorate, we're still gonna
They're
use what
still
we
up,
have,
aren't
we're
they?
just, we're pivoting a little bit, but we're gonna still have some great fun things downtown, so.
Nostalgia.
Yes, it's just that we just needed to add back that one traditional thing, so. Anyway, so the next item we have is there's a special event, permit in your packets in regards, speaking of Christmas. The, Christmas parade, for the Women's Club. That they have done, is it 3 years in a row now, I think?
Yeah.
But are you?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, 3 years in a row. This is number 3. This will be our 3rd year doing it, yeah.
yes, if you want to do that, I think it's a great parade, yeah, we've got your information.
Yeah, we're
here.
keeping the route the same from last year. It's December 9th, it's Saturday, 6 o'clock. I think that's the same time as last year we did it.
I think it is,
Yeah, I
because it was like the second weekend, I think.
Yeah, it worked out. We changed it from the first year, so it's everything's the same from last year, so.
I make a motion to approve the. Permit.
Second. Brad?
yes,
Valley? Yes. Painter?
Yes.
Cummings? Yes.
Well, we thank you for doing this. You know, once you start certain traditions in the community.
I'll have to keep it up.
You're on, from here on out now.
Okay. I've got it, it's my 3rd year doing it.
Yeah, yeah, be careful if you make any changes on it.
Thank you.
Thank you. We are planning on doing the lighting that, it'll be that first, Saturday in December, so.
Are we getting different lights this year?
We are.
Yes.
And trees.
They would be, and yeah, the two will be located in a different spot, so anyway. 3rd thing on new business is, the truck. I will have Joe kind of fill you in on, some of that. I know we all were kind of notified in the process of that, transaction on what occurred there, but I will let. Also, it's in your packet with, exhibit number 9 for, that information, but also I'll have Joe answer any questions or anything you have on that.
In just in summary, due to a car accident, one of our public works department vehicles were in, a truck was totaled. And, with that, we got a pretty sizable settlement check. We were able to go out and find a replacement truck, which is 6 years newer. Essentially for a net price of $5,519.62. It's just a formal motion for the record. Acquiring the vehicle.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Yeah, I guess I'll second it.
Thank you.
Valley,
Yes.
Painter,
Yes.
Cummings,
Yes.
Rapp,
Yes,
Oro. Okay, so we are down the village administrator. Do you have any other updates for us tonight?
No.
And Mark, since you are here, do you have anything for us?
I don't, but I'm available answering questions.
What color is your tie tonight?
Kind of green, a little blue flecks in it.
Okay, just checking.
Good question. No. Tiffany, do you have anything? No, all right. The only thing I wanted to have, I wanted to, Art and Max and Joe will be attending the IML conference. And so want to, make sure they bring us all a lot of good information back. And, I guess check in with Joe if there's anything you need leading up to that. The other thing I want to thank, Precision, Power Pro Washing with Dave McCormick, who power washed the tennis courts out at Cove Park and did a fabulous job. And he donated his time to do that. So anyway, I wanted to put a big thank you out to him for doing that. And I know the people who use the tennis courts, pickleball and tennis both, will greatly appreciate that. So anyway, that's really all that I have, other than I do have each one of the trustees have there in front of them. We unfortunately had two of our trustees resign. And I was trying to see if Jim for sure wanted his letter read. But I will quickly read over. I know you have it, Nora. I think we can give you a copy too if you want, but anyway, Dan just writes, it's with heavy heart and clear mind that I hereby announce the departure as your village trustee, sworn in on May 1st, 2019. I began holding a political service office with integrity, purpose, and determination, committed to working hard and to earning your public trust by being accessible, actionable, and accountable. Today, here out, however, recent developments within our village board as president of the office of village administrator, I will no longer be participating as a trustee due to core philosophical differences. Personally, over the past 5 years of public service, my extended family has grown with the blessings of grandchildren that will be sharing more time together. In addition, my health encountered an extremely serious challenge posed responding as a St. Joseph Stanton Fire Department firefighter and EMR that I continue to recover from. Prioritization of devoted time to faith, family, loved ones, health, home, and community have become even more critical in my life. In closing, it has been my distinct privilege to serve with honor as your village trustee, providing you with the best I have to offer. With gratitude, Dan Davis. And then we have a second letter of resignation that was asked to be read at the board meeting to the village of St. Joseph. Unfortunately, I'm going to step off the village of St. Joseph, Illinois board, mainly due to the following reasons. My family activities with my kids being in sports and being involved with their school activities are a very big part of our decision-making process as a family. I have at times missed functions due to my commitment to the village board meetings. It wouldn't be fair to my kids, wife, and myself not to step up. Our business is also plays a big part in this, being a family business. This goes hand in hand with family life. I am very blessed to our entire family, including our kids, are involved with this. We are thankful that with our community support and our growth, this requires more time and focus, not only for my family, but our local staff as well. A big part of what brought up this up is my health. As some of you may know, I had a health issue back in June. It could have turned out much worse than it did. This put me in a deep thought on the first two reasons listed above. I need to make sure to focus more on my health to assure I am here for my family by scaling back my commitments overall, including the Village of St. Joseph Village trustee position. This decision has not been taken lightly, and we've had many sleepless nights before ultimately coming to the decision to step off the board and focus on my family. I would like to recommend Stephen Peters for this position. Stephen is not only known in our community, but he's also well qualified and intelligent and would serve our town in the best capacity possible with all decisions based around our community. It's been an honor to serve this community since January 2018. Respectfully, Jim Wagner. So I regretfully announce both of their resignations. So I appreciate all their time and efforts that they served on our board over the years, and they will be missed. But they, have made important decisions for their lives, and I respect that. So anyway, so that's that. So I will be in the process of looking at other candidates once again to fill the positions. It's an important position for our community. And so we'll start that process again, and we will get those positions filled. So other than that, the trustees, I know Max has something he would like to talk about, but is there anyone else who would like to bring up something?
I'll just work in conjunction with Max.
Okay, well then, Max.
So I do have one of the first thing is,
Yes.
can someone tell me, is the speed bump a requirement out at the new park? Is that something that's really helping out there? Because that thing is just very obnoxious.
So it looks like we got the most obnoxious that we could find.
Yeah,
And yeah, so as soon as it goes away, the folks that live in that neighborhood start to call asking when it's gonna be put back in.
Okay.
And
all right, well, as long as it's doing something, because it's knocking my brains out every time I go over.
sure.
I do think it definitely slows down the traffic, and I don't
I just
know.
figure you're going to a dead end, how much more, I mean. it's
I
not
can give
like-
you a little history on it.
Yeah,
There was a lot of talk about. Let's put the excessive acceleration going west on Grand. And blocking the four-way stops will come up and put a speed bump. At the time, there was 1 inch, 2 inch, and 3 inch. And one of the trustees made the comment, go large or go home. 1 inch was just a bump in the road. 2 inch would have probably been a better alternative. Put a 3 inch, but you can also move it so that, and they can move at different times, but it definitely slows people up for that 3 inch.
Corvettes
Yeah,
can't
oh,
go over it.
Not that direct.
And some golf carts can't go over it, so.
You know, it might be one of those things, when and if it wears out, we'll look at a 3 inch, but I mean, if you see the utilities, when they string the line, they put a 1 inch over it, and you can drive with them pretty
Well,
good.
is there any way to put a slot in the middle for a golf cart, so at least then,
Hey, make it wide enough for a vet too.
yeah. You go speeding right down through there.
It drags.
Moving on, okay, so. I was ready to, lick my wounds after the last meeting and let this go. And then Art said he wanted to ask some questions. So as I got called in on the conversation of the solar, and there's just a lot of things that alarm me that I don't think, and the whole thing was, we had voted to get both sides of the story. And then Tammy came back and wanted us to vote on leasing. I mean, we never really got the buying side other than the guy who's selling us the gentleman who put this together. That's the only thing we got from the sale. We never really had anybody come in and say, this is what it's gonna cost. This is just a guesstimation. So the one thing we noticed when we were going back over this, because we talked to the people who were going to quote unquote lease it from, and do you believe this to be a lease?
No,
Okay, so you knew all along what this whole thing.
yes, and
Okay.
actually, if you read the emails that was presented through Joe. I think in a couple of emails, it points out that, because I think he specifies especially that, hey, it's really not a lease, it's a
So
purchase.
we're buying power from, so
Right.
these people are putting solar panels on there and we're buying power from them at 5.4 cents a kilowatt hour. That goes up 2%, 2.5% every year. If at any time Cameron's rate is less than that rate, we still have to buy from them. There's no getting out of it. And it's not a 25-year lease, it's a 30-year lease. So these numbers aren't even correct. We asked them and they said, oh no, it's a 30-year.
Sorry, next.
No, go ahead. I
I
mean,
was just gonna say that, just to add a little context, the 25 was because we expressed concern about the longevity of the technology being able to last for 30+ years.
right.
And so we put 25 years in as the way to get the, to do an analysis on the amount of years that we were comfortable thinking that the system would be fully operational. So that's why the model was,
So it's
So they-
priced for 30, but crunched down to 25?
yes, over a 25-year period,
Okay.
because the assumption was we feel comfortable banking on them still being there in 25 years, 30 years and over, it feels a little.
Okay, well, my other concerns are that this number that they've given us is, the. Sorry, so the one. I get it. So the number they're saying that it's gonna cost us is just a little over $1 million. Right, this 0, 1, 0, 2, 3, whatever, that's what they're telling us we're gonna pay them over the course of 30 years. But that does not, so the money we get back from the federal government and everything else on this sheet is almost $1 million if we buy it, right? That I'm looking at, correct?
I need to go get the.
I get 5, I get 432 and I get 527. So that's $1 million right there. So on this, where we're paying them,
I'm listening to you, Max.
that $1 million goes to them. So we're actually paying $2 million for this, if you want to know the truth, because they're gonna, all that incentive money goes to them. That doesn't go to us. That goes to them. So we're gonna end up paying $2 million for this thing. If you're talking about the money that you're losing on top of what we're paying. And then also the other thing is I did some asking around on what a system like this would cost. And the guy told me that we could easily get it done for $1.1 million. So if you get $1 million in incentive, then it's costing you $100,000. Now, I know it's not money we're gonna, so you're gonna get 400,000 right after, within a year after it's built. And then the rest of the money kind of comes in over the next 7 years. But you're basically, is not gonna take you very long to pay for this thing if you buy it. Now, the other part is they are willing to put a fence around it. So you could add money for that, and they're saying maintenance or whatever. I mean, to me, there isn't gonna be a whole lot of maintenance, but they've added all that in. And the one thing this guy put in was at year, if you buy it, year 12, you put in $55,000 for inverters. That shows on this sheet, but you don't know what it's gonna cost for inverters. To say that it's gonna cost $55,000 in year 12 is crazy. I mean, and you've got all this operation, there's nothing to operate this stuff. The only thing that can go wrong is an inverter. Yeah.
On
And you
this,
can have a bad panel or something like that, but you're gonna get warranty stuff. I mean, whatever you buy, it's gonna come with a warranty. So it's not like all of a sudden at year 12, it's all gonna go bad. I just don't think those numbers are correct.
What do you think an inverter would cost?
I asked my guy that and he was supposed to tell me he did, but he said they're not very expensive.
So are you saying? I mean, in 12 years, what would that be? That would be, would be in the 2030s. So, I mean, you think that?
I'm just saying, from what I understand, so I understand all this stuff. I'm just saying, to me, all this OM cost is super high. He's really figuring on the high side here. So, and then also, if you go by cumulative cash flow of this versus finances versus buying it, actually by year 3, you have more cash flow, cumulative cash flow, buying it than you do quote unquote leasing. I'm just saying, I think you guys are really, and then, so, and you realize that we're buying power off them, and we're still gonna have a power bill from Ameren.
You still have to pay a supply, yes.
Yes, which you'll have either way, but they're only doing 94%. So you're still gonna have a 6% bill on there that you're gonna pay.
Whether
Which-
you own it or whatever,
The system I did, you do 100%.
and you don't have to pay any for any supply.
No, you have to pay for supply. I'm just saying there wouldn't be that 6%. Whatever that we're gonna be paying additional. I think it's stupid to put in solar panels and pay for power. They're putting up solar power and we're buying the power that they're making on our land. And I understand you guys are falling right into what these people make their money on, because you don't, as a community, want to spend $1. You just want to sit back and reap all the rewards. That's fine. So these people are going to walk away with at least $1 million in their pocket because you don't want to spend $1.
The part that bothers me about it after and talking to them. I think everybody was under the impression we would have the solar plant, we wouldn't have a power cut. Now we still, and I'll concede, you got the delivery charges, that's alignment and all that other stuff, that's inclusive of that. But you cut it down to the amount that he showed on their sheets. And if you went ahead and took those give backs, using even let's just say to give back the plant $800,000, using the same figures they give you, at year 11, it's paid off. It's paid off.
See, the thing about the payoff, where you're getting the whole 15-year payoff is because they're adding in all the maintenance and everything else. You're not taking out a loan on the maintenance. You're not taking out a loan for that stuff. That's stuff that you'll have as you go along. You're not taking out a loan on that.
The loan, I think you're misunderstanding the calculations. The calculations are based upon what you would have to borrow in advance to build the solar. So the loan is based upon not on your maintenance,
Well,
not
yeah,
on
but
your
he's
insurance.
basing that at 1.318.
Yes,
What are you basing
because
it on?
he's basing on, because he's an expert. We paid a consultant. This
Well,
man
we
was
couldn't
hired
even-
by Warren Buffett.
That's fine. I'm just saying, you didn't let anybody walk in the door to tell us what it would cost. You
Well-
told us, oh, let's make a decision right away. We gotta make a decision. And leasing it's the best way to go. You said leasing it is what you said. You didn't say
Now,
us
I
buying power at 5.4 cents. You did not say that.
specified because it
No,
said
you
it
said-
right up here.
yes.
Power, leasing is easier to say, yes. It was said leasing numerous times, but it is a power purchase agreement, a PPA. I believe I
I
pointed
mean,
that out.
I'm just gonna
separately.
say, it's the biggest scam you got going, but if you wanna waste $1 million, then you go right ahead and lease it.
So
It's not leasing.
I want to say something, and we already voted on this.
And we can,
Can I finish, please?
Yeah.
Thank
give
you.
it a try.
I let you talk.
Go right ahead.
We voted on this. We talked about this several times before we got to the vote. I was under the understanding that you were going to get with your people and bring what I was interpreting, and it was my interpretation, and I could have been wrong, a side-by-side comparison of what your people were saying compared to what this was. And I don't feel like I ever saw that.
Terry, we sat here and voted that we would like people to come in and give us what it would be to buy it and what it would be to lease it. We voted on that. The next meeting, Tammy brought this back up and said, we need to make a decision, we're wasting time, we could be saving money. Are we gonna lease it? And here it is, the golden boy on leasing it, or we could do this dirty little thing that's gonna save us $100,000 if we buy it. Is how it was presented.
Terry, I got a question for you. How much are we buying electricity?
I don't know, I would have to look in here
And I'll
and
tell
see,
you,
because I didn't know that I needed to be prepared, that we were gonna be in the weeds with this. So I didn't come.
the reason we didn't get the information, but that being said, they told us, and we're on the conference call with Max.
Who's
and
they?
this guy here.
Okay, I wasn't involved in that, so I don't know what no one's told me that.
We're not involved when you are, but that, everybody, they also said it was 5.49 cents per kilowatt hour. But he said that's compared, but it's not a definitive rate. So it could just, the way I took it, it could be turned around. They said Ameren's 10, we're, it could be anything in between. That being said, if you get to the point, let's just say the increases and all that go up and you could buy it cheaper, you can't. You got no option to get out. You got to buy it for them for the duration of the power purchase agreement. So you're locked into it. So if it turns around and says it's 8% now, then you got a 2.25% raise each time on that. And so you got that. So it could actually exceed the cost. I'm just looking at what's the best bang for the buck. Given the information at that time, and I was torn. That being said, the sheet you got, you can go ahead and you can study that. And that's the numbers you got. You've got how much it pays off. I use different ways to go ahead and
Are
finance.
you talking this sheet I'm supposed to study?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I just got this tonight, so I didn't have time to.
Hey, it's not unusual this council being something pop up that night.
That's not, that's, trustee Rapp, that's not accurate, and I provided this information.
You did, and I've got it here. I'm just saying, in past practices, there have been things brought up that night that we've made allowances.
What I
So
can,
the exception that she's taking about me presenting that now, I take umbrage to.
so what I could do is, my preference would be, that we don't have. And I think what motivated not having a bunch of, essentially sales presentations here is. At some point, we have to operate under the assumption that us sitting here don't know everything about these financing options, and that this gentleman that we trusted has experience that you and I don't have, and that we have to find someone credible that is objective that can evaluate this for us, and it's not going to be a sales company. So that's why we had him do this.
Well,
So
if we go by the expert actually said if it was up to him, he'd buy
if there was no other factors involved, which
That
is,
was if we had the cash to pay cash for it.
yes, which is.
Then
what
if
the-
you read his last email to us after I have asked the questions, his recommendation was for us to go with the
it. And that's
power
something,
purchase agreement.
Robert, I'm just telling you, the next time I'll bring it up is when I say I told you so. When the rate becomes higher than the Ameren rate and we're stuck buying power from solar panels sitting out there that we could have owned in 3 years, I think it's ridiculous.
Max, we can also use that very same argument on the fact that you talk about the inverter potentially not costing the $50,000 that he projected in, if we had to replace it ourselves. That it could be less, it could be more. So there's a lot of
Exactly, you
things-
don't know, that would have been a
And
great
that's the
question
same
when somebody came in here, we could have asked them.
And they can only guess too, because they don't know what 15 years will bring down the road with these solar panels. In 15, 20, 30 years, nobody knows where these solar panels will be.
I can guarantee you one thing. 30 years from now, we'll still be paying on these solar panels, whether they're junk or not.
You're not paying on the solar panels, you're buying the purchase.
And we're still doing it,
You're purchasing the power through.
that they're
power.
creating.
Yeah, it's
And
not,
we're
you're
gonna
not
continue to do that.
leasing it, you're not, now at the end of it, you do have the option to buy it if
Why
you
would
want to, but that. I said in 25, 30 years, who knows if you even want to buy them anymore. You don't even know if they're gonna be working any longer, or there'll be something entirely different.
I sure
Yeah,
hope
well-
they're working. There's a lot of people putting solar.
Well, I do too, for everybody who's purchasing them for them, and like I said, and for an individual person to make that purchase agreement, that's your own finances. I'm thinking as using taxpayers' dollars, we need to look at everything. That's why we hired the consultant who is a neutral party. He works both sides. He sells them and he also finances for the people who buy them. And he understands the business. He understands all the ins and outs of, that's why we hired him to give us a side-by-side picture of what the comparison would be. Factoring in all of the incentives, whether you bought it or you purchased it, he factored in all of those numbers with the numbers that he gave us. And that's what's in these projections. And the bottom line was still, at the end of the 25 years, we were only saving $161,000. That was, and that's, yes, using projections, and that's all you can do at this point is use a projection, because nobody knows in 25 to 30 years.
Since we all voted to have people come in and explain it to us, that we should have stuck to that.
And you know what? That's fine if you guys decide to do that. I just think after sitting through salesman after salesman who comes to the meeting, who will be selling you their product, you still are not going to have a better or a clearer understanding from a neutral consultant that is highly recommended. He was hired by Warren Buffett, for heaven's sake, so he's not an idiot. But anyway, if that's what you guys choose to do with Joe's time and your time, then that's the decision you all need to make. And so that's why I brought it up at the last meeting. We've had since May that we've been trying to get this information. You've had since May to bring your person
We
on
voted
board.
to have people come in.
And that's why that was.
We did that after you were supposed to bring this stuff.
And then we, like I said, then I brought it forward to say, hey, does it really make sense to spend any more time and energy on Joe's part and our part?
It's not my money. You do whatever you want to do.
No,
That's
I,
fine.
no, you
No,
guys
John.
ultimately have to decide if you want to sit, if you guys want to sit through and listen to salesmen, come to the meetings.
I don't want to save the city $1. You know what? We'll just spend all.
That's what you guys have to decide. So if you want to tell Joe to bring
That's what I wanted to
salesmen.
decide, and then you hijacked it and said,
And
let's.
there was a
let's do it."
motion made and it was passed. So now if you would like to do something different, then you need to bring a
You
motion
made the
forward.
motion and it passed to have people come in.
And then we
And then you
reversed
all
that.
voted,
next meeting.
exactly.
But you all voted on it as you did. So that's what I'm saying now. If you've changed your mind, which we don't go back and forth, I mean, heaven forbid that we revisit everything that we choose to do. But if you think it's important enough that you think you need to do that, then by all means, you need to decide what you want to do there. I don't think you're gonna gain any more information than we have in this stack of papers here.
Okay.
So, but that's what you all have to decide.
I
So,
will readily admit that I did not do my due diligence to go ahead and study every aspect of that. After that, I got upset because I thought I made the wrong decision. And that's why they asked, we had a conference call and all that. But the thing of it is, I know none of the other trustees did their due diligence either. They're going by the recommendation of that. My suggestion was the max feels that strong about it. And after I did some of the math and everything today, I said, let's make a motion to reconsider. And go ahead and I still think I'll reconsider it. And, I don't know, I'll really admit, I don't know every aspect, but I did like I said, on the monies. I think we bought it, year 11, we don't. And
And you also on
your electricity at the
additional
plant would be, the electricity at the sewer plant that wouldn't be coming out of the general fund, you would go ahead and you would have no bill.
the electricity for the sewer plant comes from the sewer plants.
Well, the sewer fund, whatever fund. So,
So if you want, I can get, if I got one proposal from a purchase power agreement, is that, no, I'm sorry, not a P. If from a purchasing option or financing
You know
option.
what? No, I'm done. I really am. I'm ready to go.
It's up to you.
I
We're
know.
giving you the
I'm
option.
done.
You
I'm
feel
done.
strong-
I understand, you know what? I'm an electrician. I put in solar and I'm telling you, it's a bad idea. You guys don't want to listen to me. That's fine. I'm done.
You.
I'm done. D, D, O, N, E, done.
If you can bring us more information,
Done. We down to adjourn?
I have nothing more.
I make a motion to adjourn.